there is a lot of dark energy in entertainment, right? Because there's a lot of ego and hubris and, I was almost going to say money, a lot of big budgets and money can change people. But I want to be careful because I think I've heard, and I've done a lot of work on this, and it's cool that I'm sitting here with a billionaire. I realize money just reveals people. It doesn't change people. Do you agree with this as a billionaire? Can you back me up?
I'm going to go one step further. Money magnifies who you already were. That's what I would say. Money takes them, because as a billionaire, I can do anything I want. I can go get a private jet. I can get a yacht. I can buy almost anything I want. And because you can do that, because you can almost do anything you want with your time, and you now do it. And I do what I want with my time, which is we have a family foundation. I have a Bahai or an inspired foundation, which is the Wayfarer Foundation. I have a movie company, and now I'm getting into the movie theater business.
So you were already this guy, this giving, good-natured guy underneath that. I mean, before the money showed up.
I became a Bahai, and I think I became much nicer. I don't think I was, I know you'd have to ask people who knew me before I became a Bahai, but I think I'm the kinder, gentler version of me. That I think I was more arrogant before, I think, not to say I wasn't giving before, I was giving before I became a Bahai, but I think I become more giving and more directed in terms of how I want to give. I think I have a lot of direction from the Bahai teachings. But yes, I think it does bring out who I am. And
in general, does that to people in general?
I think the money allows me to be more fully who I am.
Yes,
so I can I can give away money on a much larger scale. Yeah. I can make these movies. I can with Justin and Jamie work on Wayfarer, which is trying to take Hollywood, and we want to be light. That's the thing. You're talking about the darkness. We are light, and you talk to our employees, they'll tell you they get it. We're different. We're not perfect, but we're different.
I heard you say in a talk where we first met each other at that dinner we were at. You said, my team told me we were gonna lose money on this project that was gonna be really impactful and be a light. And you said you were okay with it or something. Am I right? Do I remember that correctly? Yeah.
I mean, we are not trying to lose money on every project, but the number one thing we have, and our only thing we have is non-negotiable, is we have to make good movies, good quality movies that make the world better, and TV shows and podcasts. The second thing after that is make money. If you take Hollywood, it's reversed. It's make money at all costs. And if it does good, that's okay. But with us, it's non-negotiable that it's good quality, and it does good. And we hope it makes money.
That's beautiful. Because you said, I think another quote in my research on you was, you said, at Wayfarer, we're here to, we care more about uplifting you than we do entertaining you. I think you said something effective.
That's true. Yeah. I believe in the long run that humanity hasn't realized this, that uplifting is actually much more entertaining. Think about a movie that you've seen. Anybody, think about a movie you've seen that's uplifting, and in the long run, you remember that movie. Do you remember, like, go to 20 superhero movies? Do you remember them? I mean, I personally, I don't do superhero.
Sorry
movies.
To all the superhero fans out there. Yeah, but some people like them. That's not for me.
A lot of people like them.
Yeah.
But would you remember one from the other after seeing 10 of them? That's
a very good point. No. Because essentially they feel exactly the same to me.
There's not really, the ones I've seen. I haven't seen all of them. Like the last one I saw was it Wakanda Forever, which, by the way, wasn't bad. And like, as far as that genre, I thought it was very good. And there was some elements I love the fact that there were black women shown as being extremely intelligent, extremely independent, extremely powerful. Yeah. That was great.
Yeah. Then
you get into the incredible violence in it. And I do not like violence. We are not supposed to hurt each other as human beings. It is below us. We are the highest created. I'm going to say this with a little bit of passion. We are the highest created thing on earth. We have to act like it. If we don't, if we act like animals, we're lower than the animals. A cow is happy being a cow. As a human being, I would be very unhappy being a cow. It is below our station to be violent.
So that's amazing. All right, so wait, I want to get to a couple of important general questions I think people might be interested by. Okay, so what was it like the day you became a billionaire? Because you're already sort of wealthy, you said, right? What was it like the day that you kind of hit that billion status? Like, what goes through one's head when that happens? I'm curious.
There's two things that go through my head, and they're competing. One is, oh my God, That's terrible because I'm a Bahai and we're not supposed to have extremes of wealth and poverty. And the other is, wow, I made it. Checkbox. I became a billionaire. Both of them were true. In the end, it doesn't matter that I'm a billionaire. I can do more good for the world as a billionaire. There's things I can do. There's companies I'm looking to invest in now. I have one that I'm looking to invest in that is going to do really positive and wonderful virtues for very young children in music and film, and I'm really excited about that. I'm excited about my movie theater, which I'm going to take over an existing movie theater and make it into a community center. And if that works, I can do that in several markets. And so it's going to be a movie theater, but it's also going to be a community center and show movies for children and have activities for children, and then have director's cuts for adults. There's just ways I think you could change the theater business. And I'm excited about doing things like that. And I have the money to do that.
You know how like you're like, there's all this violence and we're kind of conditioned not to even recognize it anymore. You know, it's like, I feel like, I mean, we live in LA. There's a homelessness crisis in LA. And I was driving the other day, and I'm not kidding you, there was somebody, you know, asking for money, who looked like they were in pretty rough shape, and, you know, cars were going and everything. I was like, if that was a dog that was lost, there would be 7 cars stopping right now to get that dog. I'm serious.
People,
and so it's crazy.
People are, and I share this. People have mixed emotions about the homeless, because most of the homeless have a drug or alcohol problem. And so people don't want to give them money because they're going to use it on drugs or alcohol.
Yeah.
I think we need to address the homeless problem. There's no question about it, but we have to address it at its root. So I had a friend who gave somebody who's homeless, a couple, a house, housing, maybe it was an apartment, and their problems got worse because before they had to work harder to get money and had less money for the drugs. And so because they got more, basically became financially better off, they did more drugs. And they actually physically hurt them. I think one of them ended up in the hospital very shortly thereafter. I think we have a spiritual problem. Everything in the problem, every major problem we have in society is spiritually related. And so we have a spiritual problem. And the homeless are probably the canary in the coal mine.
Yeah.
They're the people who have gone off the deep end. They didn't maybe start that way. Maybe they started as somebody with a rough home life. Maybe they started as someone who was in poverty. Probably a lot of them started with drugs or alcohol at a young age for various reasons. And that, I think, is what ended up getting them where they are. Completely,
yeah. And not, I think the mental, you know, there's mental health crisis right now, like big time. And it's like the problem with mental health is we can't see it. We're very like visual beings. Would you agree?
And there's definitely a lot of mental health issues. I think the drugs and the alcohol and the mental health are all bound up. Some of them probably,
it's all linked.
Some of them probably had mental health issues to begin with, and then some of them didn't and developed them. But either way,
it's really just, it could be a maladaptive way of coping with a mental health condition. Does that make sense? It's like they're kind of using it to kind of cope, but it's a maladaptive way to cope.
There's no question there's mental health issues, and it could be people, like I said, you can develop mental health issues, particularly with marijuana. Yeah. Marijuana causes mental health issues, and so we're doing a movie about that, and especially the newer, stronger marijuana. Every 4 minutes in America, someone has what they call a psychotic break after smoking pot. Every 4 minutes.
Interesting.
About 100,000, mostly young people every year, and it's growing all the time, and no one's talking about it.
Huh.
But I know of at least 10 families who've experienced that. 10, just me personally.
So, Steve, another question I wanted to ask you too that I think people would benefit from is mentorship. I think, you know, right? How important is mentorship? Do you remember when you got your first, you know, big mentor and the impact maybe that had on your life? You want to share about that?
Mentorship has not been real big with me.
Wow. Okay.
I had a great boss, and I learned from watching him. But when I was in California in 1996, I had some really good bosses along the way.
Yeah.
But I would say I didn't have someone I particularly looked at as my mentor. I was very independent. Wanted to do.
So it's not a barrier to being successful. Then you don't think you could read books, or you don't need.
I never read books either. I just.
But I'm certainly not alone in this thought, though, right? You hear about mentorship and stuff like that, but
different people learn differently. I learn by making mistakes, and I make them as many as I can, as quickly as I can, and I learn from them. Some people who are probably a lot smarter than me read books or get a mentor. But I'm not wired that way. I'm wired this way. I always talk about an entrepreneur. If there's a wall, you see a wall, or maybe someone else might see a wall, but we as entrepreneurs just walk through the wall.
That's it.
And then we wait for someone to clean up the mess afterwards.
Okay.